everyone, it's Sean from What Up. Welcome back to another video. Now, this is going to be a little bit different than my normal videos. I'm going to review Winter Dragon. I'm not going to use any of the images or video from the actual Winter Dragon pilot because, well, let's face it, they've copyright strike pretty much anybody who puts stuff up about them, so I'm not going to do that. But we will talk about it. And I'm doing this kind of in conjunction with Black Tower Podcast has a campaign right now on Twitter called Bring Back Billy. So the hashtag Bring Back Billy, if you guys want to see Billy Zane in the Amazon Prime adaptation in any way, shape, or form, they're trying to make that happen. So I promised them I would do a little snippet at the beginning of one of my videos talking about it. And let's face it, Billy Zane is amazing. He's a good actor. Depending on what you like, but he's not a bad actor at all, and he actually is the only bright spot in the otherwise abysmal pilot Winter Dragon was, and we'll get to that in a minute. So I think it might not be a bad idea to bring him back in some way, shape, or form, not as Ishmael, not as a big character, but at least have him back on set for a little bit. It would be a small Easter egg to give the fans. All right, so that's hashtag Bring Back Billy. If you guys want to see if you can get that trending on Twitter. All right, so Winter Dragon. So this all started years ago. Essentially, Red Eagle Entertainment was a production company that had the rights to a television adaptation of Wheel of Time, plus other things too. They had at one point said they were going to make an MMORPG. They were going to do feature films. There were all kinds of other stuff. Nothing ever materialized, and I think, in fact, they put out a Kickstarter for $450,000 for their MMORPG and raised like $3,000 or something like that. It was abysmal. Red Eagle Entertainment is not exactly a good name in the Wheel of Time community. So if you mention them, a lot of people get very upset, very angry, with good cause and good reason, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So essentially what happened is they had the rights to do a television show or movie. And Bandersnatch Group, which was the direct successor of Robert Jordan's estate, would have had those rights revert back to them on a certain time, a certain date, if nothing was done or successful. So under cloak of darkness and behind veiled doors and all this other stuff, essentially they didn't tell anyone anything. So Red Eagle Entertainment got together and said, well, we have to try to keep the rights. No one ever said how they had to try to keep the rights. It didn't have to be wildly successful. It just had to be made and aired, right? That was their thinking. So they decided to make a pilot. Now, they made this pilot without consulting Harriet, Robert Jordan's widow, without consulting anyone pretty much else in the Wheel of Time community, or very few people, and without any blessings or anything at all. So they just kind of did this, and it certainly showed when they did this. Now, Winter Dragon, I've left a link to it down below in the description box. If you guys want to watch it for yourself, it's 21 minutes of hot garbage. It really is. Now, I'm going to get one thing out of the way. I've said before that I do like it, and that's true. I like it because it's a Wheel of Time related project. But if I would look at it objectively as a piece of film or TV show, it's right up there with the Sword of Truth series that they had on TV. It's really bad. And the only bright spot in it is Billy Zane, because he's the only one who seemed to give a little bit of a shit when he was acting. Just a little bit. It was nice. So, like I said, it was 21 minutes of just unadulterated terribleness. When it opens, the opening credits are bad CG. Like, I've said this before a bunch of times, that CGI is the bane of my existence. I don't like it unless I can tell it's not CG. I don't like being kind of slapped in the face with something that looks very unnatural and unnerving in a film or television show, which is part of the reason why when they started CG all those years ago, and some of it was really bad, I revile a lot of those movies because it just I like practical effects. I'm a practical effects kind of guy. So the CG in the opening was terrible. It's reminiscent of an old PlayStation game, and I think I actually read an article this morning about it that said PlayStation 2 game, and I'm pretty sure Daniel Green's review he did on this over a year ago said the same thing, and they're not wrong. It's terrible. Like the graphics are just absolutely bad, coupled with a voiceover. Now the voiceover is reminiscent of the Lord of the Rings voiceover. That's the first thing I thought of when I heard it. It's the same tone, same female voice, almost the same accent. It's really strange, actually, how close it is to Peter Jackson's opening credits of the Lord of the Rings movies when they're talking. So that was the first thing I noticed. And in this the opening credits, they explain all kinds of stuff that is not in the prologue of the books. They just explain things. And why do they explain things? Well, because if you take the prologue of The Eye of the World and you jam it together as a TV show and put it on the screen, nobody's going to understand any of it. It's one of the very few parts of the books that confused me on my first reread terribly. Or first read, rather, terribly. And it wasn't until multiple rereads later that I was like, oh yeah, I know what's going on here. I understand. I've read this stuff before. But as a prologue, it was not the greatest because it didn't explain anything. It just kind of threw things in and things happened. And there's a whole lot of backstory and different things going on there that a new reader may not understand. So if for nothing else, Winter Dragon makes a really great case for the fact that Rafe Judkins should not use the prologue initially in the first season. They should wait for a few seasons down the road and use it as a flashback when they're talking about the Dragon Reborn, because that way they're gonna, you know what's going on, you know certain things, you can see flashbacks, and the viewer will understand it and it'll flow a lot better. So then we cut to after the terrible CG and the explanation of all the stuff that you really don't get normally. You cut to the scene in Lews Therin's house. So he is there, he's with his family, his kids are running around laughing creepily, and it's kind of all light and airy. And I'm using light and airy kind of... It's shot terribly. I mean, let's face it, this video I'm doing right now has 0 production value, so you can alt-tab out and you could, play a video game or watch something or do a puzzle or play with your kids or whatever and just listen to my voice, and that's pretty much all you're going to get out of this video, because I'm just talking at a camera. And this video has more production value than Winter Dragon did. It was bad. I mean, I have seen films made by my friends and my children that were better directed than this thing was. It's a horrible thing to say, but it's really bad. And for all those involved in the production, I'm not belittling what you did. Even the worst television shows and the worst adaptations and the worst of the worst require a lot of hard work and effort. And I know a lot of hard work and effort went into this by a lot of different people who maybe really believed in the project at the time, but it didn't turn out so well. So, poor production value is the first takeaway from this review. Very poor production value. The second thing is the acting in this, start to finish, is absolutely abysmal, with the exception of Billy Zane. Now, Billy Zane is a decent actor. He does a good job in a lot of the roles he does in different movies. And this is kind of not an exception to that. So there are parts within this 21-minute pilot that you could tell he's just phoning it in. He's just there talking. He's got his lines and I gotta say this and I want to go to lunch, or I gotta pee, or whatever. You can tell he's not super interested in the project, and from what I understood is I don't believe at the time when he did this he was a big fan of the series or had read much of it. Now that could be wrong, but that's what I've read, and it kind of showed. But there were other times during this that he killed it. Like he was Ishmael. He was my Ishmael. Like I saw him and went, yeah, he's doing a really good job for this 3-minute clip. But everyone else involved, and by everyone else I mean the one actor that plays Lews Therin, and the kids and stuff in the background there. Oh my god, just terrible. So anyway, back to the opening scene. Lews Therin's walking around, his children are playing and stuff. Ishmael shows up, and there's some dialogue back and forth, and it's very bland, very not so great dialogue. And then they talk a little bit about what's going on. And the dialogue is pulled almost word for word from the book in some instances, and you can tell when they did that because it does not translate well at all. Remember my other videos where I say an adaptation is a good thing, so they need to change some stuff? Robert Jordan's dialogue word for word on the screen, at least for this prologue, the way it was delivered, didn't work at all. You need to rewrite a little bit of it here and there to make it more... Reading it's fine, but hearing it... So then we get to the point where we get a flashback of Lews Therin killing his family, but he's not really killing his family. Like they're talking about some things going on, and then it's like that, and it's a real bad CG scene from like the first Highlander movie with static and weird looking lightning coming out of him, and like he's just kind of glowing in his hands wrapped. He's like, ah, like this. And you're not told it's a flashback. There's no real angling into it. There's no easing into it. It's just they're talking, and it's same tone. So it's a dark, very, very dark, screen. The flashback also very, very dark. You can't tell it's a flashback until you go back and watch it maybe a second or third time and go, oh yeah, it's a flashback, him killing his family. It's just kind of weird. And then you get to see Ishmael heal Lews Therin. And this is something that we all expect would be really good. So we've already seen the use of the one power once in the Winter Dragon, and that is when Lews Therin kills his family, and it was horrible. It was like I said, first Highlander movie CG quality. The lightning when they chop off somebody's head and it goes everywhere, like that, really bad. But then Ishmael heals Lews Therin, and you're thinking this could be good. They have a chance to redeem themselves. Nope. No viewing of power whatsoever. It's just Billy Zane grabbing his head and going, "Be healed." Kind of like one of those, spiritual healers that you see on TV that no one really believes. It was quite bad. You don't know he's using the one power to heal him. Or the true power rather to heal him. You don't know what's going on. All you know is that he's yelling at Lews Therin, and Lews Therin goes, "Oh, I'm healed now. I'm good." And that's pretty much it. So really bad directorial choices, like just bad cinematography. Like it's following them around. Like the camera's shots are terrible. Not great quality. And then you get some other shots of Billy Zane talking, saying some more of Ishmael's lines, which he actually does deliver quite well. And that, like I said, the only bright spot in all of Winter Dragon, to me at least, was Billy Zane. He did a very good job there. And then let's just fast forward right to the very end, because although the little tidbits in between, nothing big. You see Lews Therin pick up a badly overworked, very ornate dagger, like really, really bad. Now in the book, in the prologue, if they were to follow the prologue exactly, he gets very emotional realizing what he did. He gets very upset. He draws in more of the one power than he could ever unaided. Burns himself out. Big bar of light to the sky. Burns away his house. He travels away. He travels away from his house rather. Burns away all around him, and creates Dragonmount. Like a big, huge reveal. Very cool. Very epic to see if it done right. That didn't happen. He picks up this very overworked ornate dagger, something that I am sure I could go pick up at the dollar store. 100%. I could probably go this afternoon and get one and go, hey, it's the Winter Dragon dagger. And walks up the stairs and said, I can't remember the exact line, but he calls Ishmael my friend, which again is very strange. And I'm going to be with my family now. So he's going to go kill himself, but not in the way in the book series, and certainly with zero emotion. There's no remorse. There's no anger. There's no fear. It's very like Data from Star Trek. I'm going to be with my family now. It's really bad. So like I said, the acting from that character, abysmal. Just horrible. So let's run through all of it. Like I've basically kind of rambled here for a bit about all the things I don't like about it. So let's break it down here, kind of like summary. Things that are bad: cinematography, horrible; lighting, terrible; costuming. Every one of them looks like they got their costume at Party City. Like it's pretty bad. Like I'm not gonna lie. You got Lews Therin walking around in a gray suit that you'd pick up at Moore's. Like, not real cool. Acting, with the exception of certain aspects of Billy Zane's performance, abysmal. You could tell everything was very rushed. No emotion whatsoever. Did not follow the prologue, even though they were trying to follow the prologue, which they deviated in strange spots as far as I was concerned. Production value is very low. And then positives. Billy Zane's performance in some aspects was positive to me because he actually did do a good job. Billy Zane's an actor. He is an actor. He does a good job acting. And there were a few bright spots. Not all of it. You can tell he's phoning it in maybe half the time. The other half the time, he did a good job. What else did I like about it? set, maybe. I mean, it was a mansion, Victorian-esque style mansion, so it kind of fit, I guess. Yeah, that's about it. So, if you haven't already seen Winter Dragon, like I said, links in the description box down below. Go check it out. My review for this, star-wise, 1 to 5 stars, half a star. Really, really terrible. Not so great. But, again, it is sort of a piece of Wheel of Time history for us. If you haven't seen it as a Wheel of Time fan, please go watch it. Make fun of it as much as you want. Whatever you need to do. But try to be objective, because it was the very first time that any of us had seen anything related to Wheel of Time on TV. It really was. And it was... I remember seeing it when it released, and I remember being so excited about it, and then I remember feeling sick when it was done. Like, I don't know what else to say. But without things like that happening, maybe we wouldn't be getting the show right now. So there is that. All right, thanks so much for tuning in, and here's to many more.